Life seemed like a bed of roses for Alice and Jack, a couple who lived in what looked like an isolated neighborhood called Victory. From potting to dance classes, swimming pools, and the strange pattern with which the husbands left the house every morning and the wives had to wave them goodbye, one could mistake these couples for a large family with this guy Frank as their big daddy. Every morning the husbands had the duty of leaving for work to the Victory headquarters where they worked on supposed classified progressive materials, while the wives had to stay at home, cleaning, scrubbing and preparing the homes for their husbands. There's new neighbor in town, Bill and Violet Johnson, but an old-timer Margaret has a big question. Why are we here? Although Frank had a reasonable explanation to why the Victory project was there to stay, introducing the community doctor and thanking him for his initial contribution to the project, Alice seemed not to be satisfied by his reply. Margaret was Alice's friend, but everyone called her crazy since she defiled the most sacred rule given to the wives: do not wander into the desert. Claiming she saw something and was led by her son into the desert, Margaret didn't return the same person and was ever since isolated and diagnosed with 2 drops of insanity. Why didn't they want us to go to the desert? Why couldn't our husbands tell us what the entire Victory project was about? What did Margaret see that made her feel trapped in this luxury environment that had almost everything? These were the questions that troubled Alice. While on a joyride in one of the commuters, Alice saw a plane crash into a mountainous area in the desert, but the driver denied seeing or hearing anything. This further troubled Alice, and as she decided to go help the passengers of the plane, walking her way through the desert, she met a high building, the supposed headquarters of the Victory project. She was violating the most important rule, but she had gone too far to back down now. She touched the glass frame, fell into a realm of maximum hypnosis, and blacked out. Waking up in her house like nothing had just happened made her more troubled. She was beginning to question her sanity when her husband told her she had returned home in one of the commuters. At this point, she could have sworn that something was definitely wrong and Margaret wasn't insane after all. Speaking of Margaret, the downcast lady had slit her throat right in front of Alice and thrown herself off a building after failed attempts to make Alice agree that something wrong was going on. From nightmare to strange occurrences, time skipping, attempted suicides and more, Alice was gradually losing it and had no one to confide in. Her husband wasn't getting the point, or worse, pretending not to. To the other women in the community, she was the new Margaret. She even got the same prescription as Margaret from the community doctor who looked more like a scientist than a conventional medical doctor. Things were still going smooth for Jack as he got a promotion from Frank, which made Alice more furious. Looks like Frank knew she had found out the missing piece and was trying to distract Jack. To celebrate the promotion, most of the Victory community folks were assembled at Jack's place. While slicing some lemons in the kitchen, Frank walked in and gave Alice more reasons to believe something was wrong, promising her no one would believe a word she says about how strange every around them was. At the table, Alice had prepared a good speech, getting the right spot on the table to dish it out. Alice started by reminding each couple how they had met at the same place. All 3 ladies on the table met their husbands at a train to Boston, dropped their tickets, and their husbands picked it up for them. All the ladies were all from Philadelphia. They went to honeymoon at probably the same hotel, spent vacation at the same location, eat only Victory products, informing them it wasn't all a coincidence that Frank planned it all and their lives were in uttermost danger. Guess who she sounded just like? That's right, Margaret. Frank took the opportunity to make a fool of Alice, informing everyone that she was delusional and refused to take the doctor's medication. Long story short, it ended in a disappointment. Jack was disappointed in Alice for disgracing him in front of Frank and the whole guest. Alice had taken her shot and missed. Now she wanted to leave. She begged Jack to leave the Victory community with her, pleading that they could go any other place in the world. After much persuasion, Jack faintly agreed, with Alice not knowing she was walking right into a trap, one set by Jack and Frank to capture and subject her to treatments in their lab. During this treatment, Alice could remember a bit of her life before moving to the Victory community, how she worked as a surgeon and Jack was always on his computer like an internet dork. Treatment was successful and Alice was back with Jack, but the memories kept coming. It so happened that Alice was so busy with her job and didn't have time for Jack. This made him sign up for the Victory project, a virtual world where players had their bodies placed somewhere in the real world, but their minds and reality was trapped in a different realm. More like a high-definition dreamland that felt so real. There was no second-guessing. The headquarters was the way back to the real world. These memories broke Alice. Knowing now that Jack had forced her into this life and lied to her all through was more annoying than whatever reason he had. Noticing how bad things had gotten, Jack tried to kill Alice, but she ended his life first. Death in the Victory community meant the person had died in reality. It was now a matter of who knew and who didn't know all this while. All the men knew for sure and wanted it. Most of the ladies didn't know they were trapped. Alice made her way to the headquarters and woke up in the real world. Meanwhile, Frank was killed by his own wife while trying to stop Alice. As for what happened to the Victory community, I don't really know. Who cares? It's a fake-ass world. That's all for now. Hit the like button, subscribe and share. This was Flicks in 4, and bye for now.